It's time to lock in. We're talking SEC, college football, and more. This is AP as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama. This is AP as we see it, a weekly syndicated show discussing the Southeastern Conference, college football, and always keeping our eye on a national college football scene and more. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of AP as we see it, and we'd like to direct you, our audience, to our social media platforms on Facebook, on our X account, our Instagram, Spotify, where, of course, we videotape the episode on our YouTube channel at AP as we see it. And we have also on my personal social media platforms at AP Stedham. You can check those out on Facebook, X account, Instagram. And like I said, check out our YouTube channel. Every week when I cover these games around the country, SEC games and other national games, you can look at all the photos, all the post-game interviews, all the action before the game, the pageantry of the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans in attendance at the game, the stadium. We try to present those all to our audience so you'll have a live feel of what it might be like to cover a game around the countryside. We'd like to also thank our sponsors, Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, serving the Gulf Coast and beyond. For 109 years. They have Lucy's Famous Recipes are online. She has a book you can also purchase as well. Remember, family, friends, and football is a winning tradition at Greer's. Score big savings on fresh meats, produce, and more for your game day spreads. Check out the groceries to go. They can be delivered to your home, office, the venue of your choice. And remember, Apples for Students help all your schools. You present those receipts and get that done by October 15th so you can be in the running for free supplies at your school. They have the coloring contest for the children. That's a fun event. And you can check the online ads that come out weekly. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. Our other sponsor, Robertsdale Dental Care, 251-947-3636. Dr. Jason Northcutt. Not only are basic services offered by Dr. Jason Northcutt, but he has developed a niche within the practice providing comprehensive dental implant services such as single implants, bone grafting, and full mouth reconstruction. Dr. Jason Northcutt has been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long-lasting solutions to major dental problems. Come by and see Dr. Jason Northcutt and his staff. Call 251-947-3636. That's 251-947-3636. Robertsdale Dental Care. We'd also like to thank the Cortland Grand Hotel, downtown Atlanta, right in the heart of Atlanta. They have the spacious, beautiful rooms. They have the pool, serene setting that's tropical. You feel like you're on an island. It's beautiful there. You also have the restaurants, the gift shops, the outstanding breakfast every morning. On weekends, they cook to order. So check that out. Ben Giacomo and his staff do a fantastic job. I stay there all the time for the SEC meetings. And anytime I'm in the Atlanta area, I'd like to visit my friends at Cortland Grand Hotel. So let's get on to the show. We always like to discuss our guests. Segment 2, we're going to branch out to a game this weekend. We're going to travel to Champaign, Illinois to see the Fighting Illini, 17th ranked, host the number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes. And our guest is going to be Glenn Kinley of WCIA. That's right in the CBS affiliate, right in downtown Champaign. So we're going to have him as our guest in segment 2, and we're discussing that big ball game within the Big Ten. We always like to check out teams around the countryside that have the potential to play the SEC teams in the playoffs. So why not check out the number 1 team in the country? And so we thought we'd visit with Glenn Kinley, the WCIA CBS affiliate in Champaign, Illinois. We'd like to bring up a few topics that came to light recently. One of those things is Baylor will now be playing Auburn in Atlanta. And you're asking why the game is in Atlanta. Well, it's a neutral site game. Many years the kickoff classic has been there. This is the fourth time that Auburn will be at the Kickoff Classic in Atlanta, but there's NIL implications. They partnered with the Peach Bowl and the Kickoff Classic, and so there's going to be major opportunities for the Auburn University student athletes to have make some marketing appearances and be paid for their services. So that's something unique in the college football world, to have the neutral site game, but there are NIL implications. And you're asking, is that a good thing for Auburn? Well, it's going to be easier for them to get hotels in a big city like Atlanta. It's close by. You can probably get some tickets. And also, it's good to be in Georgia, the state of Georgia, and Atlanta, especially because that's a hotbed of recruiting for Auburn through the years historically. So that partnership with the Peach Bowl and the Kickoff Classic, it's going to be a big game next week. First weekend in September 2026, they'll face the Baylor University Bears and be going against the Auburn University Tigers. So that's something unique in college football. I think you're going to see more of it. We've seen it in basketball. There's a big basketball tournament, which I'll cover at the end of November, right before the Iron Bowl. There's a host of SEC teams that will be playing in that event. SEC women's will have a team in there as well. So I'm looking forward to that to be in Las Vegas. But that's some of the NIL principles and application has moved into the basketball world before the college football world. So it's not unique to college athletics. It's just something that's unique to college football. The other thing we'd like to bring up is the NCAA Division I Administrative Committee has decided that the transfer portal will just be one time, and that'll be January 2nd through the 16th, 2026. There's no more spring transfer rule, so it's just going to be applying to that winter session. And you're asking, how does that help? How does that affect the playoff teams? Well, the playoff teams, they're going to have an extra 5 days after that game ends. For instance, if the game ends on the season ends on, let's say, the 19th of January, the championship game this year, I believe it is, they'll have that 5-day window from January 20th to January 24th. And if your coaches, and also if your coach is hired, a new coach is hired after being fired, you have a change and a transition, that will start 5 days after that coach is hired. So you know that there's some teams that already have fired their coaches, but they'll grandfather that in with the 30-day rule, I believe. So that's something different. But they try to extend the transfer portal to all the specific situations and scenarios that have evolved over the years. But that's just to give you an idea of something different that's going to be happening with the transfer portal. So that's kind of a neat thing, I believe, for student athletes. Just have the one window. I think it gives some more stability to what's going on with college athletics for college football anyway, to have more answers in January, and it's not moving into the springtime and people are not leaving their school, so the coaches can make some solid decisions. It's, like I said, more stability for the college football teams. The NCAA committee, Division I Administrative Committee, approved that. That'll be happening January 2nd through January 16, 2026. So, but anyhow, we'd like to just make mention. Last week we had a doubleheader. We were a couple places. We went to the West Virginia at BYU game in Provo. We saw the outstanding starting quarterback freshman for BYU, Bear Bachmeier, had close to 400 yards total offense, about 347 passing, another 40 or so, 50 rushing the football. So this is the third time he's the Big 12 Freshman of the Week, just 5 games. So he's a quarterback to watch when you're trying to watch various teams around the country. Bear Bachmeier and his brother Tiger, he's a wide receiver. They both transferred from Stanford. Bear started there in January, transferred in the spring, and then Tiger graduated in 3 years from Stanford University. So BYU's got a good football team. They handled West Virginia. Then I traveled to Los Angeles the next day, and I picked this game up because I wanted to see Penn State, which I had ranked number 1 in my poll. We'll discuss that in one of the coming segments of my ballot on the Football Writers Association, National Football Foundation Super 16 poll, but I had them highly ranked. So I put this on my schedule because I was out on the West Coast, and I saw the UCLA Bruins 25-point underdogs with Nico Iamaleava at the quarterback position. We know about him since he was at Tennessee. They upset the seventh-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. It was a great ball game. Nico didn't throw for a lot of yards, but he led his teams touchdowns through the air, touchdowns with his legs. He just looked like a quarterback that was very comfortable in that system. We know they had the upheaval at UCLA when they fired the coach, Sean Foster, and they fired the Tino Sinceri as a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, and they brought in Jerry Newhouse. They told him on a Tuesday at 5 p.m., I guess, Pacific time, and he came up with a game plan. And Tim Skipper is the interim head coach, and so the Bruins had a lot of reason to celebrate by defeating the number seven Nittany Lions of Penn State. So that was, I think, the biggest upset of the day. Maybe it's going to be the biggest upset of the college football season, perhaps. But anyway, it's just one game. Penn State's up against it now with the two losses. They lost in overtime the prior week to University of Oregon at home. So, but anyhow, we're going to bring on our guest, Glenn Kinley of WCIA, the CBS affiliate, Champaign, Illinois, and we'll be right back after these messages with AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it. We have a very special guest, Glenn Kinley from WCIA, the CBS affiliate in Champaign, Illinois. He's the sports director, and we'd like to welcome to AP as we see it. Hey, Glenn, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. Exciting week. I'm actually, if you're wondering why I got the backdrop, I'm up here at Big Ten basketball media days when we're doing this, and so I don't just have this at the station, but we got basketball talk, women's basketball talk today, men's basketball talk tomorrow, and then of course pretty big football game in Champaign this weekend. Oh, by the way, right?
Oh, by the way, hosting the number 1 Buckeyes, number 17, I believe, of the Fighting Illini of Illinois, Brett Bielema, and of course Ryan Day with Ohio State. Glenn, what's something you like to tell people about going to a game in Champaign? This will be my first time, and we always like to be exposed to teams who might compete against the SEC in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this: it has changed in recent years, right? It is different now than it would have been 3, 4, certainly 5 years ago. In that there's a whole lot of excitement around this program that maybe wasn't there, but you win 10 games last year, and the fans start showing up. So sold out 2 games last year. I think that was the most. I think they hadn't had multiple sellouts in one season for football in many years, and then this year they've sold out 3, and that number could be going up. I don't know how many they'll end up selling out, but if they keep winning, the fans will keep showing up. I know the tailgate scene is pretty good. It's probably your typical Midwestern, get out there, get a burger, a hot dog, a beer, and you're good to go by 9:30 in the morning or whatever. But I expect it to be a rowdy crowd for this one. I think it'll be a good atmosphere, as obvious, stating the obvious. Illinois seeks to get what would be just a monumental win for Brett Bielema and his team.
Oh yeah, I'll take you up on the hamburger and the hot dog. And we'll
There you
let
go.
the other one slide. But Glenn, there's a slight SEC flavor to this ball game. Luke Altmaier, the quarterback for Illinois, was from Starkville, Mississippi. Originally played at Ole Miss a handful of games and made the transfer. He's been quite successful with the Fighting Illini. And of course, Julian saying he was at Alabama for about 5 minutes. And he's a California native. And so the two quarterbacks have been at SEC schools. We can make that statement with confidence.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because Luke really didn't find success right away when he got to Champaign. That first year he played, and then he was kind of hurt, and then he was like, is he still a starter? And then he was playing again. So that first year he was not bad, but not great. And then last year's really came into his own. And you said, this guy is our quarterback. This guy is really good. He got him 10 wins, of course, not alone, but with some good receivers next to him. And I think what he's done this year has been spectacular. He threw for 390 yards last week at Purdue. and that was a career high. He's doing it, mind you, that he lost Pat Bryant, who was an early round draft pick, to the Broncos. He lost Zachary Franklin, who was a go-to guy for him last year as well. He has lots of new receivers in that room, and those receivers have been pretty good. But it's a testament, I think, to Luke and probably to their offensive coordinator that they could just plug and play those guys and say, last week at Purdue, Illinois really kind of struggled to run the ball, especially early. And I
Right.
said this in my post-game recap for our newscast. Previously, that would have been a deal breaker. Oh no, Illinois can't run the ball. They're going to lose this game. And Luke Altmaier has gotten to the level now where he's playing well enough that you can say, we can't run the ball. Fine. Have him throw it 35 times. Have him throw for 390 yards, and he was successful doing that. That's a level he wasn't at previously. He could throw the ball a lot. He made some great plays. I don't think previously they could win a game like that when the run game wasn't going, and they said, Luke, we're going to need you to throw for almost 400. And he says, done deal. Let's get a W. I mean, he's playing with a supreme amount of confidence right now. You can see that in him after each game. I think he has this interesting, like, I don't know if quiet's the right word, but it's this confidence without being like cocky. It's almost like
Right.
he's not afraid to tell you that he's good. And
Yes.
if you ask, he'll tell you, and he'll tell you that he believes himself, but he doesn't need you to know. He doesn't really care if you know. But if you ask, he also won't shy away from, man, I'm playing some pretty good football right now.
Yeah, he's not brash, but he's definitely confident. We like confidence. When we love confidence. We don't like being brash, though. We can leave that at home. Leave that on the sideline.
I'm with
But
you. I'm with you.
yeah, done very well. 109 completions from 148, 73%, 1,500 yards, 12 TDs, no interceptions. That's what I have documented here,
Yep.
Glenn.
Yep.
So he's having an excellent year, and I think we've seen that around the country. A few quarterbacks, the run game is not very good, and the quarterbacks have taken it on their shoulders and have been very successful throwing for more yards and winning ball games. What most impressive thing about Illinois, I think, is that comeback after they were trounced by Indiana.
Yeah.
A lot of teams would have folded, but Illinois is still a tough team, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I thought that was impressive. I thought that USC game the next week, man, if David Olano didn't drill that game-winning field goal from 41 yards out, you'd have to wonder if they keep this thing on the tracks, because it's just so easy after you lose by 53 points in Bloomington, Indiana, to question everything. We were doing it. We were saying, is this what happened? Is this not the team this is not the team we thought we were going to get? They returned 16, 18 starters, 18 from the bowl game, I think it was, from last year, a 10-win team that beat South Carolina in a bowl game, and then you lose by 53. You say, what on earth happened to come back that next week and beat USC and look pretty good? I think USC is good, and that was just a huge win. And then to take care of business at Purdue this past weekend obviously was significant. It was a trophy game. They care about that game, but that was a really big bounce back win. I think it's a testament to the probably the buy-in that Brett Bielema has. Because think about it, you lose by 53. A lot of teams would have some guys that say, hey, I'll get my own ride back. You enjoy the bus ride, right? I think I'm good. But the fact that guys didn't give in, nobody turned on each other and began pointing the finger or saying, well, if coaches would have had us doing this, well, I wanted this play call, or the receivers, right? It's the old receiver cliche of like, they would have targeted me more, right? How many times do we hear that in the NFL? The fact that they didn't have that and they stayed together and have gotten a couple wins since then is impressive. I didn't know it was going to happen. I believed in the buy-in. I thought that Brett has a really, really good thing going in Champaign, but I still thought you lose by 53. What do you do then? And they responded in a pretty big way.
Yeah, I had them high in my poll because of all those returning and Luke as well, the quarterback. That's important to me. Look at the quarterback. You mentioned David Olano. I don't think has he missed this year yet, Glenn? His field goals or extra points?
I could be wrong. I think maybe he has missed one, but
don't
quote me on that. I could be wrong. And
but he's good.
Before last week, he's really good. He's just really consistent. Before last week, I think he actually was perfect on touchbacks. On every single kickoff had been a touchback out of the end zone. I think he kicked one out of bounds last week, so that was his first error on the kickoff unit. But on the field goal, he's been pretty solid. And what happened was last year, he was kind of their accuracy guy, and they actually had another guy who ended up hitting the portal. Ethan Machowski was his name, and he might be at an SEC school now, but I can't remember. But Ethan was kind of their their big leg, right? He was there.
Yes.
If it's 60 plus, we'll run him out there. If it's 45 or less, we'll run David out there because he's the accurate guy. And now they've kind of gotten David to be both. We haven't seen him hit any really long field goals. We haven't seen him had to try. He hasn't missed them. He just hasn't attempted one from way out. But he's just been deadly accurate. He's hitting from 40, and his 41-yard winner against Purdue. I'll tell you, I went back and watched our video. You pause it right when that thing goes through the uprights, and it's about above the uprights. It's at the very top of the goalpost from 41 yards out. I'm not a math expert, but I think that thing was good from at least another 10 yards, if not 15.
It was headed towards the moon, it looked like, anyway.
Yeah, it was about to go over the student section, but they were already getting ready to rush the field, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, Ohio State's about a 14-point favorite we discussed prior to our interview, but Julian's saying that quarterback from California at Alabama for about 5 minutes, he throws a nice ball himself, 80%. How was the pass defense for Illinois? I don't think it's very good at this point, right? Is that right?
It depends on the play, depends on the week, depends on the down distance. But I will tell you this: what I think actually will be, because Illinois is without who most people would say, I would probably say is their best defensive back, maybe for the season. Xavier Scott's out for an extended period of time. I don't think they get him back this year. We haven't gotten confirmation. We know he's not playing this weekend or next weekend or for the foreseeable future. They're without him. They're playing some younger guys there, and we know how good Ohio State's receiving core is, right? Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate.
The best.
Those are some pretty good ball players. I would actually tell you this. I think what Illinois is going to really need this weekend is the D-line to step up in a big way. And you say, Glenn, I asked about the secondary. Why are we talking about the D-line? If those guys can get home, the DBs don't have to defend for as long.
That's right.
If the DBs have to stop Jeremiah Smith from getting open for 10 seconds, it ain't going to happen. If they have to stop him from getting open for 3 seconds before one of these linemen, James Thompson, Kurt Neal, one of these guys can get to the quarterback and either force him to throw it away or get a sack or something, that's a game changer. I think it's going to be, obviously the secondary has to play well. It's going to be on that D-line to make sure that they do not make those DBs cover for too long.
Mm-hmm. And they're in the 5+ in the turnover category, I believe. So maybe they get some fortunate plays with the ball bouncing their way or interceptions or something like that as well.
Yeah, that's what happened at Duke. Duke turned the ball over 5 times. It's literally a blowout win for Illinois. If you watch most of the game, it didn't look that lopsided, but I think Duke fumbled 3 times and threw 2 picks, or fumbled 3 times, muffed a punt and threw a pick or something like that. And you don't win football games like that. So Illinois is going to need some things like that to probably go its way to pull it out this weekend. But I suppose crazier things have happened.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Glenn, in the last minute here, can they run the ball at times in the short yardage situation just to make Ohio State respect the run?
They're going to have to be able to win this football game. That's something they didn't do at Indiana, and they've struggled to do at times. If they try to do what they did against Purdue last week, Indiana will say, fine, our D lineman can beat your O lineman. We're not going to blitz anybody extra. We'll drop back and play coverage. And the Buckeyes will just do that and say, we're gonna defend you in coverage all day. I'm sure they have a talented secondary. So Illinois has to be able to run the ball, if nothing else, just to keep Ohio State honest and say, you got to bring some guys up or we're going to get 5-6 yards a carry. And so that's big. Khalil Valentine's the sophomore running back. They typically will use, if healthy, 3 running backs. Caden Fagan and Aiden Lawfrey are the others. Can those guys get going? And even just get those first down plays are huge. Get 6-7 yards on first down. Get 4 yards on first down. And it's second and 6 instead of second and 11 if you go backwards, right? So it'll be a big piece of this game. Can they run the ball? It's a question we've all been asking.
Oh, yeah. Glenn Kinley, WCIA, with a lot of information. CBS affiliate, Champaign, Illinois. We'll be right back after these messages. Thank you, Glenn. Hi, I'm AP Stedham with Dr. Northcutt of Robertsdale Dental Care.
AP, not only do we offer basic full-service dental treatment, but I also have developed a niche within the practice where I provide comprehensive dental implant services, such as single implants, bone grafting, and full mouth reconstruction. I've been highly trained in those disciplines to offer comfortable and long-lasting solutions to major dental problems.
Come by and see Dr. Northcutt at Robertsdale Dental Care. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP As We See It. We'd like to thank our guest, Glenn Kinley from WCIA, the CBS affiliate in Champaign, Illinois. He's the sports director. We previewed that big ball game of the Big Ten. Ohio State, the Buckeyes, #1, visiting the Fighting Illini, the University of Illinois, number 17th ranked. And those two teams, I think, haven't played since 2017. And Ohio State's, of course, a 14-point favorite or so. But anyway, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Greer's Marcus, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, 109 years of serving the Gulf Coast and beyond. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And also Robertsdale Dental Care with Dr. Jason Northcutt. Dr. Jason Northcutt and his staff, you can contact them at 251-947-3636. Dr. Jason Northcutt, 251-947-3636. You can see that on the ticker. We have all our sponsors listed. In the Cortland Grand Hotel with Ben Giacomo and staff, downtown, the heart of Atlanta. I love going to their pool, that serene and tropical setting, the spacious rooms, and you're right in the heart of downtown Atlanta. So check them out as well. They do a tremendous job, Ben Giacomo and his staff. But we like to look at every week I try to give you my ballot for the Football Writers Association of America National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. This week I had Ohio State #1, Oregon 2, Indiana 3, Georgia 4, Miami 5, Texas A&M 6, Ole Miss 7, Oklahoma 8, Alabama 9, Tennessee 10, LSU 11, Texas Tech 12, BYU. I told you, had a chance to watch that ball game and see Bear Bachmeyer and company, BYU this weekend in Utah. Georgia Tech #14, Mizzou 15, and Memphis #16. The actual poll, the composite of, I think it's the 56 voters, Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Miami 3, Ole Miss 4, Oklahoma 5, Texas A&M 6, Alabama 7, Indiana 8, Georgia 9, Texas Tech 10, LSU 11. Tennessee 12, Georgia Tech 13, Mizzou 14, Michigan 15, Notre Dame 16. So the SEC is well represented. There is, just count them off here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the top 16 of the Football Writers Association of America and the National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. That's just another couple points I'd like to make about some topics we've discussed in segment 1. I think that NIL in conjunction with the neutral site game will be good for colleges. I know that the neutral site games were kind of losing their favor because you're trying to maintain all the home games that you can. But I think if the numbers work out and it's not too far from your fan base, which Atlanta is not for Auburn in this particular instance, and plus it's a strong recruiting area for the Tigers for decades. So I think that's a positive for them, and the Auburn University student athletes can benefit from those appearances and name, image, and likeness deals that they can make involved with the Kickoff Classic and the Peach Bowl and that partnership. So I think that's a very good thing. And as far as the transfer portal, the new rule, January 2nd through the 16th, I think that's an excellent window. Plus that 5 days additional if you're playing in the college football playoff games. I think that is an excellent way to approach some balance and some fairness. And having just a one transfer portal in January, I think is good for the stability of the programs, and I think it's good for the student athlete too. I think there are positives for them with just having the one transfer portal window. And then also when you have the coach who's going to be hired, you have those extra days as well. They took that into account, and then they grandfathered in the head coaches that were fired, their programs, so you can have those extra days as well. So I think they made some good decisions with the NCAA administrative committee. So I think that's going to work well moving forward. But let's get on to the ball games. We just have 7 this week. Last week was only 5. The 3 teams with the bye, Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt, were all 3 byes this week. So we're going to delve into our first game. Game number one is Arkansas, 2-3, 0-1 in the Southeastern Conference versus Tennessee, the 12th ranked Volunteers, 4-1, 1-1 in the conference. The series is in favor of Tennessee, 13 games to 7. We know Arkansas had the change in the coaching staff. Bobby Petrino was the OC. He is now the interim head coach. We know that he was the head coach of the Razorbacks, I think it was 2010 for a number of years. But I'm interested to see what he does with that offense. And I don't think he had too much restrictions on him when Sam Pittman was the coach. But Taylor Green, I think, is a very good quarterback. But and we've been saying the same thing, it's repetitive. They need help on that defensive side. Their pass defense is 113th. Total defense is 117th. They surrender 257 yards per game in the pass defense. So that puts a strain on your offense. Offensively, Arkansas is fine. They're 514 yards per game, which is 8th in the country. So if they could play just a little bit of defense, they might have a chance. They're a 13.5-point underdog at this point. Tennessee, and like I say, Arkansas is averaging 37 points a game, surrendering 30 points a game. So they have to score a lot of points just to be competitive. Tennessee's averaging 51 points a game. That's first in America. Rushing 199 yards, I might as well say 200. That's and 337 yards passing. That's fourth. Overall offense, 536 yards. That's sixth in America. Defensively, their rush defense 115. Pass defense is 115. So they have an Achilles heel in that area as well. So maybe Taylor Green gets hot for Arkansas. I don't know. They surrender 258 yards per game, total 373, which is 76th on defense, Tennessee. In the turnover range there, it's Arkansas is 0.40, negative 0.4, that's 91st. Tennessee is negative 0.20, that's 78th. Tennessee's defense, they surrender 29 points a game. Arkansas is, like I say, not much better at 30th. So that's Tennessee's defense, 102nd in America. But Joey Aguilar, excellent quarterback for them. He has really embraced Josh Heupel's system, and I thought he'd be an upgrade. He's from California quarterback, Appalachian State transfer via UCLA for, as I say, 5 minutes. There was that swap with Nico Iamaleava. It turned out well for Tennessee. They're winning ball games, and they're, like I say, 4-1, and they should get this victory. But Arkansas upset them last year, and so the Tennessee's, they're not going to be looking to the next ball game, and they're not going to take their eyes off these Razorbacks in Knoxville. So that's a big ball game for Tennessee to keep their string of winning and trying to be in contention for the SEC championship game as well as the college football playoffs. Game two, we have big oldest rivalry in the South, Georgia and Auburn. Georgia is in the lead with the series, 65 wins, 56 losses, 8 ties in this game. Georgia came off last week. Both Arkansas and Tennessee had byes as well. I just want to backtrack there. Georgia beat Kentucky 35-14. Auburn had a bye. So the Bulldogs are averaging 34 points a game, 200 yards on the ground, plus 200 on the pass. So they average about 438 yards, which is a good balanced offense. Gunnar Stockton is an excellent quarterback for them. He's the type of quarterback we've seen that can win a game for you throwing the football. He didn't do that very much in the Alabama game. They're having success running the ball, but fell short. Auburn's offense, 27 points a game. Their passing is 112th. Offensively, 342 yards. That's 106th in America out of, I think it's 136 teams at the FBS level right now. Defensively, Auburn's pretty good. 88 yards on the ground, 17th in the country. Their pass defense allows 227 yards. That's 82nd in the country. Overall, their defense, 315 yards. That's 38th in the country. Georgia's defense, run defense, 82 yards. Third in the country, 231 yards passing, 86. Total defense, 33rd, just a little bit better than Auburn at this point. Turnover margin, negative 0.4 for Georgia. They're 91st. Auburn, 0.80 in the positive. That's 25th. Sacks, they're 8th in the country, Auburn, at 3.2 per game, which is very good. Georgia, they don't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback or make the sacks. Their tackles for loss are 103rd in the country, And their sacks, they're 108th. Their tackles for loss are 103rd. Auburn, very good with the sacks, as I mentioned, 8th in the country, 16th. Tackles for loss, 7.6. So Auburn, if they can get some offense from Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze, he's on the hot seat, I believe. I don't know, change might be the inevitable pretty soon here if it doesn't win some ball games. They're sitting at 3-2, 0-2 in the conference. Georgia 4-1 in the overall record, 2-1 in the conference. They're a 7.5-point favorite. I just think that this is a great opportunity for Auburn to go on the road, play fast and loose. They've got a defense that can back them up, but you have to make some third down, have some conversions with Jackson Arnold and company. Cam Coleman, he's a very good receiver, very extremely tough to guard one-on-one. If they get him the ball a time or two, be consistent with their drives and not do that Tennessee waltz with the 1-2-3 punt, Auburn might have a chance. I mean, the odds makers think it's going to be fairly close, 7.5. That's not a big point spread. It's not double digits, even though Auburn has not played very well offensively. So they believe that they're in the running for a possible upset. So anyway, we're going to continue on the next segment with the rest of our games. We have 5 more games to discuss, and we'll be right back after these messages with AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and we want to make mention to the folks watching our YouTube channel. We have our ticker with all our sponsors running on the bottom. Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. We also have Robertsdale Dental Care with Dr. Jason Northcutt, 251-947-3636, and also the Cortland Grand Hotel, downtown Atlanta. So take notice of our sponsors, and if you can support them, we sure would appreciate it. Now, coming back from our past segment, I just want to make mention one more thing for the Georgia-Auburn game. Georgia allows 18 points per game, which is 32nd in the country, and Auburn is only 16 points per game. Like I said, Auburn's got a pretty good defense. If they can play some complementary football, they usually give Georgia a tussle, but we shall see. But anyway, moving on to the game number 3, we have Washington State out of the Pac-12. They're 3-2, and they haven't played a conference game yet. Washington State, they beat Colorado State last week, 20-3. This is the first game in this series between Ole Miss and Washington State. So Ole Miss is the 32.5-point favorite. They're 5-0, 3-0 in the SEC. They had a bye last week. They're number 4 in the country on the Football Writers National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. Right now, Washington State averaging 20 points a game, not much offense, 109th in the country. Of course, Ole Miss, 40 points a game, 14th in the country. Rushing the ball, Ole Miss, 208 yards, passing 322, which is 6th in the country. Total offense, 530 yards, 7th in the country. Washington State, 78 yards rushing, 131st near the bottom in the country. 220 yards passing, 68th in overall offense, 306 yards. That's 126th. Defensively, they allow 150 yards rushing, which was 78th. For the Washington State Cougars, 179 yards passing, which is 29th. Total defense, 330 yards, 50th in the country. Ole Miss's defense, 163 yards rushing. That's 100th in the country. They allow 172 yards passing. That's 25th. Total defense, 53rd. That's 336 yards total. On the turnover side, Washington State minus 1.20. That's 126. Ole Miss turnovers minus 0.6. That's 104. Their sacks, Ole Miss, 126 in the country. Total tackles for loss, 127th. They only have 3 interceptions. Washington State, 0 interceptions, 52 in sacks, 39th in tackles for loss. They're allowing 28 points per game. Ole Miss is allowing 18 points per game, which is 33rd. This week, Lane Kiffin, he wasn't ready to name a starter during the weekly SEC football coaches teleconference. So Trinidad Chambliss, the sensational Division II transfer from Ferris State. Austin Simmons was the starter beginning the season. He's coming off the injured list, so we're not sure what quarterbacks we're going to see in this game. Maybe we see both. Maybe he brings back Austin Simmons if he can get a lead at Washington State. I'm not sure, but it is a dilemma for him because Trinidad Chambliss, it was, I think, 400 plus yards, 400 and 300 plus, 1,100 or so yards, maybe 1,200 at this point. How can you sit him down? He's got the hot hand. I don't know what if I can do it if I was the head coach at Ole Miss myself. It's a very delicate situation. You're trying to manage the fragile egos of these young quarterbacks, and they're we know that Austin Simmons is very good. We know that Trinidad Chambliss, he's come on the Division I scene and like a comet. He's a star right now. But anyhow, we'll move on to the next game. Florida, 2-3, 1-1 in the conference. They're playing Texas A&M. This series is 4-3 in favor of Texas A&M. Texas A&M number 6, 5-0, 2-0 in the conference, 9.5-point favorite. Florida, those Gators are chomping, coming off that upset victory at home versus the Texas Longhorns, 29-22. Texas A&M took care of business by beating a solid Mississippi State team conventionally 31-9. Now, Florida, their running offense is 100th in the country, 130 yards, passing 223, total offense 92nd, 354 yards. Texas A&M running 195 yards a game. That's solid, 37th in the country, passing 271 yards, 34th. Total offense 22nd, 466 yards a game. Very good. So they're looking, Mike Elko, his team is playing complementary football right now. Rushing the ball, defensively 109 yards, 32nd in the country for Texas A&M. Passing yards 180. They're allowing 32nd in the country. Total defense 289 yards at 21st in the country. Florida 26th in the country, allowing 99 yards, passing 196 yards, surrendering 49th in the country. Overall defense 24th. Two similar type defenses. That's 95 yards total defense for Florida. They're allowing 4 interceptions for Florida, 2 for Texas A&M. Sacks, 89th for Florida, 96 tackles for loss, minus 0.40 on the turnovers. That's 91st. Sacks for Texas A&M, pretty big number. 6th in the country, 9th tackles for loss, and 69th on their turnovers. They have 0. Florida is allowing 17 points per game, which is 26th in the country. 21 points a game is 48th for Texas A&M. So Texas A&M trying to hold serve, which I think they'll do. 9.5-point favorite. Let's move on to the next game we have here is Alabama. Number 7 Alabama playing on the road in Como. That's Columbia, Missouri. Number 14 Missouri. Alabama 4-1, 2-0 in the conference. 36 points a game. This series is 6-2 in favor of Alabama. Missouri 45 points a game. 2 explosive offenses. Missouri 4th in the country, 574 yards, almost 300 yards a game rushing, 292. 3rd in the country, 255 yards passing with the transfer quarterback Bo Pribula from Penn State. Defensively, Missouri rushing at 62 yards. That's 1st in the country. 10th in passing, only 141. 2nd in the country, only 203 yards a game for that tough defense. Alabama, 87th, allowing 155 yards rushing, 130 passing, which is only 5th in the country. 285 yards total, 20th in the country. Good defense, but it's a little unbalanced that you can run on Alabama. I think sacks, Alabama 108, tackles for loss 80th. Turnovers, number 1 for Alabama, 1.80, allows 16 points per game. Sacks, Missouri 40th, tackles for loss 27th, and turnovers are 69th. They only allow 14 points a game. That's 16th. So you got 2 hot quarterbacks. Ty Simpson, about 80, almost 80%, 75, between 75 and 80%. And Bo Pribula, dual threat quarterback. Both of them can run, get some yardage with their legs. Excellent passers, leading their teams. That running back transfer from Louisiana, Ahmad Hardman, I believe his last name I guess it is. But he's a good running back, so that's going to be tough for the Tide to stop that running game of Missouri, but it's on the road. So right now, Alabama is the favorite, 6.5-point favorite. South Carolina, LSU, 10.5-point favorite for LSU. LSU 4-1, number 11 in the country, 1-1 in the conference. South Carolina 3-2, 1-2 in the conference. This series in favor of LSU, 18-2-1. So 24 points a game for South Carolina, 27 for LSU. Both offenses with good quarterbacks. Garrett Nussmeier for LSU, Lenore Sellers for South Carolina. Struggling, though, 27 points a game for LSU, 24 for South Carolina. Defensively, they're averaging 18 points a game, South Carolina, 12 points per game for LSU. So it should be a competitive ball game. I don't know, whoever quarterback gets the hot hand, maybe that's going to be the difference. Like I say, they're playing in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. That's a difficult spot for the Gamecocks, and they're trying to get themselves together with that offense. I don't know if 24 points a game that they're averaging so far. So, and both teams do not run the ball very well. 120th in the country for South Carolina, 117th for LSU. LSU is a little bit better on the passing side, 43rd in the country to 86th for South Carolina. So we'll see what happens. South Carolina's offense is 125th in the country. There's only 136 teams, I believe, so that's very low. That they're having trouble on that side of the ball. Next game, the Red River rivalry. We're going to end the show with this ball game. The series is in favor of Texas, 64-51-5. Oklahoma's coming off a 44-zip victory over Kent State out of the MAC. They're 5-0, 1-0 in the conference. They're number 5 in the country. Texas is not ranked anymore, out of the poll. They were number 1 preseason, 3-2 overall, 0-1 in the conference. They're just a slight favorite. Red River rivalry, they're coming off that loss over in Gainesville, 29-22. We're not sure if Mike Hawkins Jr. is going to be the quarterback or Mateer, the transfer from Washington State. So maybe that's why Texas is a slight favorite in this game. Oklahoma averaging 33 points a game, Texas 29. Oklahoma surrendering just a 7.2 points per game, Texas 12 points per game. So it's going to be a really good battle. Turnovers, Oklahoma minus 0.80, 114th in the country. Texas 0.60, 37. So maybe that's the difference. They're first in sacks, 4.2 per game. So they got to protect Arch Manning, and they have not protected their quarterback at Texas. How does this happen? The University of Texas does not have a superior offensive line. I don't know, but that's the truth. They're 13th in defense, total defense. Oklahoma's first in total defense in the country, 193 yards per game. So another great ball game, the Red River rivalry. That ends the SEC game, 7 this week. And 3 teams have a bye. So we want to thank our guest, Glenn Kinley from WCIA, Champaign, Illinois, the sports director of the CBS affiliate. So we'll be on the road, like I say, in Champaign, Ohio State Buckeyes facing the Fighting Illini of Illinois, and have fun at all these SEC games. And we'll be back next week with another edition of AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.